One of the big things I'm taking away from 25 is to shut the heck up, Sarah. Hi honey, it's the Sarah girl. And listen, it feels to me like I'm going to be starting a new chapter in life. Don't worry, this channel is not gonna die. It's just, it feels like the content will be a little bit different. But this is me getting way ahead of myself, okay? Basically what I'm trying to say is, it feels like I'm entering a new era, going through a new chapter in life. Can't tell you exactly what it is that I'm doing differently because I don't know. I don't specifically know, but I tell you what, it feels like a different time in life already. So, well, you know, if you look back on the past videos that sit on this Hi Honey channel, that's sort of me holding myself accountable and saying, hey, remember all these things or these tips or these things that have worked for you, especially over the past few years. And this video is going to be just a little bit of a spotlight on the few key things that I really want to be able to remember and take away from the lessons I've learned in 2024 and 2025. So yeah, let's cut to it. All right, so one of the biggest lessons that I'm taking away from 2025 is the ability and comfort in saying not no, but I don't know. You know, there was a time when saying no was difficult. I learned that lesson, and there is some comfort in no being a full sentence, for me at least now. And that was the next step for me. Knowing that I don't know is also a full sentence, and it's a full sentence that ends with curiosity, right? I used to think, or I am actually still around a lot of people who take the phrase I don't know as a huge sign, very simply put, of you being a stupid person. Like, why would you say I don't know? Why would you put yourself in such a vulnerable position and call yourself out almost and say that, no, I don't know anything about this topic that you're talking about, and tell me more about it. That's how I would respond now to things when people say to me like, hey, you remember this time when, I don't know, this comes out a lot in politics, right? Where they say, oh, do you remember this time when this politician said this and this politician made this mistake, and do you know this policy that is going around or being debated at this point? If I don't know, I am gonna say I don't know now. It used to be that I would like, yeah, and I would try to piece the puzzle together on what is that you're trying to talk about, what you're trying to talk to me about, and sort of, I don't know, patch gaps up in my own mind, and okay, so this is what they're talking about. If I don't know a piece of news, for example, I don't have to dig very hard in me to find the ability to say I don't know anymore. I used to feel really stupid if I had to say I don't know. I guess what it meant to me saying I don't know is I am not up to date. I don't know everything. Now, the ability to say I don't know comes so freely, it's a little bit scary. But there is a lot of power in saying I don't know, which is a little bit different from saying no and answering people with a no. But I think that's a separate story. So I don't know opens up the conversation actually. It's not so much about me trying to figure out in my head by myself what it is, that topic it is that you're trying to talk to me about, and we're trying to build a conversation and trying to connect in a way. The I don't know is very closely followed up with tell me more about it. You know, it looks like it matters to you, so tell me a little bit more about it, and then we can see what is that I can bring to the table, I guess. I don't want to pretend anymore. I don't want to pretend that I know everything that you know. I think that's what it is. There is some sort of power in being that person that just nods at you at every conversation or through every conversation, and I still do that. I don't know if it's a good thing or it's a bad thing, but that's just my habit. But I want to nod these days because I am learning about something that matters to you or something that you care about that maybe I don't know, and it's fine that I don't know about it. I don't diminish myself anymore. It actually makes me feel like I'm a child again. Like, I don't know, please tell me more. Then we can discuss, but I'm not going to pretend anymore. Lesson in 2025. Lesson number 2 is this idea or this word. The word capacity. This is actually one of the newer, very, very new concepts that I've recently read about, experienced, and sort of tried to dig deeper into. But I used to think that how someone shows up every single time in a conversation, in a relationship, or at a meeting, or whatever interaction it is that you might find yourself in, that if a person acted a certain way, in any way, right? If they were super smiley, or if they were super judgmental, or if they seemed very, very withdrawn, in my experience of that person, that I would judge that person and assume that that is how that person is as a personality trait. I've come to learn that actually it is all about capacity. It's just that sometimes when I experience a person, or I share space, or I spend time with a person, I think, okay, so I'm assuming that this person, for example, is a bit of a pessimist, a little bit withdrawn, and really, really quiet. That's how I would have judged a person and basically put them into a box. I don't know, to make myself feel safe. What I've started to learn is that it's all about capacity. It is that person's capacity today to show up like this, in this conversation, in this meeting, in this day and time. It does not necessarily reflect who they are as a person, just because I met them for like 10 minutes and this is already what I assume about them. And it goes the same way, you know, if a person shows up really positively, they're very talkative, they're very smiley, they're very energized, right? And I think, this person must be like this all the time. This is just their personality. It's how people show up for you at that place and time, especially if you're talking about not short-term relationships, but short interactions with people. Don't go assuming that that is who the person is. Yes, there are definitely people who are unashamedly and just the way that they are all the time. I'm sure there are people that can show up and they're so confident in themselves, they show up like that, their true, authentic self every time. But for me, there are days that I show up very withdrawn, feel very dejected, and I'm just like the darkest cloud in the room. And that's not to say that I am always the dark cloud in the room, and it's also not to say that I'm always the bright sun in the room. It is just what my capacity is to show up as that day. So don't go assuming things about people and making judgments about that, what you see at face value, saying that is the way that that person is. No, I don't think it's very fair. It's a very tiring thing to do, don't you think? I love this word, capacity. This lesson has been talked to the ground, and it's about change, and change being the only constant that there is, which is the most infuriating. The most infuriating, but the most real piece of advice, and yeah, it's the realest thing that anyone will ever say to you, and for you to be able to accept it and swallow it and just let it be, it takes a lot of patience. At least it has taken a lot of time for me. But if you look back at all the videos that I have on Hi Honey, you will see a lot about change, about me accepting change, and that change is not a bad thing. You know, I can talk it to the ground, right? But it's a lesson that I have to keep learning. I have to keep reminding myself for some reason that change is okay. I find myself, although I don't know, I have this tattooed on me, okay, that this too shall pass, and you know, that nothing is permanent. It's the practice of knowing that impermanence is the only permanent thing. Yet I find myself on a daily basis thinking, I don't want to change this. Like, why does this have to change? Like, can we not just keep it the way it is? It's not a daily struggle. It's just like, why do I need to keep teaching myself this same damn lesson? And yeah, for some reason, you know, let's just talk about this bed, okay? Like, you see the pillowcases and everything. I'm just so against changing the color of my bedsheet. Like, why? Like, change is the only constant, right? So why am I so hard up on finding that specific Pantone color of a bedsheet or a pillowcase that I'm so comfortable with? I'm like, just I have so little that I can keep constant and control in my life. Just give me that much. I guess that's what it is, right? You just want to be able to control like the small things in your life. Although you know the essence of life is that you can't control everything and not everything is going to stay the same. But yeah, lesson after lesson, isn't it? Lesson that nothing is permanent and change the only constant. And then number 2 is that this is the lesson that keeps. It's just the lesson that never ends. These days, whenever I talk to people or I interact with people, the first thing that comes to my mind is what I'm going to say actually going to be useful to this person? I used to rattle my mouth and my tongue or wag my tongue at every problem that anyone put to me because I thought that that's the way conversations are, that's how friendships are. We talk to each other because we want to just get a different perspective. We want to be able to banter with the person, and I go to you because I know you're going to be talking back to me and we can have a big discussion about it. I think that a lot of the things that I used to say as someone who communicated, I wear my heart on my sleeve. And now I have to really dial back a little bit and just listen a little bit more to people and be able to ask myself before I say anything or I respond to something, especially if it's something that is important to the person that I'm talking to, whether what I say is going to be useful to this conversation or to that person that would be receiving it as well. Words are very, I want to say dangerous, but that's not the word that I'm looking for. But words, they can get away from you. You know, you can mean something, you say something with a certain intention. And it depends on how that person sitting across from you receives that set of words as well. Someone will say to me like, I don't know what it is that I want to do with the rest of my life. And I think like, life is such a waste of time and stuff like that. I used to be like, in your face, giving you solutions and trying to rectify this problem that I feel, that I see, that you're trying to tell me about. But now it's about the pauses. It's about, the pauses are more important to me. And being comfortable in those pauses. And then allowing the other person to be comfortable with the pauses that I'm giving them as well. I think these are the small steps that we all can take towards leading a more mindful life. It's just make everything that we do a little bit more well-intentioned and know exactly what it is that we're doing with every step we're taking. Yeah, so it's just that gap between how it is that I really want to be able to respond and to maybe to be able to help you or tell you this is the solution, why do you not see it? And with the best of intentions, maybe I've been through that circumstance as well and I know exactly the solution to your problem and I know how to get there. But is it really meaningful for me to say those things that I want to say so bluntly to a person, not knowing how it is that they're going to receive it, what they're going to take away from it, and maybe they might walk away feeling even more dejected than they came because they had a problem and you sort of shoved something down their throat. Some people just want to listen. They just want you to listen. That's what I'm taking away from. One of the big things I'm taking away from 25 is to shut the heck up, Sarah. Be a little bit more quiet or a little bit more nuanced in the way that I respond. Always ask myself, is what I am going to say useful? When you lead life that way, I think you live with way less regrets. You're just a little bit clearer in the mind. And you know that you want to be helpful to other people. At least in the context of this particular tip or this particular life advice that I'm talking about. But yeah, just being a little bit more quiet, listen more, and really hearing a person out before I try to decide for myself that what I'm saying, what I want to say is useful for the next person or the person that I'm delivering it to. Big lesson. What a big year. I don't know about you. Tell me about your year. What year have you had? It might be very different from me. If you want to know anything about my year, the year that I've had, head on back. to all the videos that sit on the Hi Honey channel and get to know me. I would love to get to know you as well. And I'm just curious. I'm just curious about how people lead their lives, and I love reading the comments and watching your videos as well on how life has been treating you. But in the meantime, listen, 2025, these are my biggest lessons that I still continue to learn. And I tell you what, I'm enjoying it. Don't tell my past self, don't tell my younger self that I'm enjoying this process, because she will cuss you out. Until next time, honey. Take care. Bye, honey.